Welcome to our audience. Let us journey back to the burning sands of the Third Crusade.
On one side, a roaring lion from the west, wielding a heavy steel axe and brutal force. On the other, a calm desert eagle, whose brilliant mind and sharp tactics ruled the warm sands. When the unstoppable Western king clashes against the Eastern master of strategy,
who will ultimately claim absolute victory in this epic battle of legends? It was the late 12th century, an era defined by holy wars and massive conflict. The Levantine coast became the ultimate stage for the greatest conflict of the Middle Ages. Thousands of European crusaders marched under the blistering sun of the Holy Land. They were led by King Richard the Lionheart, a towering figure of immense physical strength. His heavy steel sword and fearless nature struck absolute terror into the hearts of men. But facing him was an empire united under the brilliant golden banners of Ayyubid. Sultan Saladin was a scholar and a general, a master of strategy and deep patience. Historical chronicles tell us he was a man of great chivalry and profound intelligence. The Western war machine pushed forward, determined to reclaim the sacred city of Jerusalem. Richard brought iron discipline, forging his men into an unbreakable wall of heavy shields. Saladin, however, understood the terrain and deployed light cavalry to exhaust the enemy. He knew that raw power meant nothing if the Crusaders could not survive the harsh desert heat. The tension between these two immense forces built up slowly, like a dark storm on the horizon. Every tactical move was calculated, turning the desert into a massive game of chess. Richard sought a decisive, open battle, while Saladin preferred shadows and quick ambushes. The air was thick with the scent of salt and iron as the opposing armies finally drew close. Drums of war echoed across the valleys, signaling the beginning of a legendary showdown. Both monarchs knew that the fate of the entire world rested upon their heavily armored shoulders. Their reputations as undefeated conquerors were tested in the ultimate crucible. The sun beat down mercilessly, reflecting off thousands of polished helmets and sharp spears. According to ancient texts, the sheer scale of the gathering armies defied all human belief. The clash of cultures and religions created a volatile spark, ready to ignite the whole region. Richard stood at the front lines, a shining beacon of Western power wrapped in heavy chainmail. Saladin watched from the hills, calmly analyzing the formations with a cold and calculating eye. The first major confrontation was inevitable. An epic clash awaited them all. In the autumn of 1191, the explosive Battle of Arsuf finally erupted. Saladin unleashed a fierce storm of arrows, testing the limits of the Crusaders' endurance. Waves of Muslim light cavalry crashed against the European shield wall in endless succession. It was a brutal test of discipline, as soldiers fell under the relentless rain of sharp steel. Yet, Richard commanded his troops to hold the line, refusing to break their tight formation. The Lionheart paced the battlefield, his very presence preventing a catastrophic panic. He waited with supreme patience, looking for the perfect moment to strike a decisive blow. When the Muslim horses grew tired, Richard finally unleashed his heavy armored knights. The devastating counterattack shattered Saladin's lines and secured a massive Western victory. Richard had proven his tactical genius, ruling the open field with absolute authority. Saladin was forced to retreat, realizing that a direct confrontation was no longer possible. The first round belonged to the English king, whose roaring triumph echoed across the entire coast. However, if you were in Saladin's position, would you surrender or change the rules of the game? The Sultan chose to change the rules, initiating a ruthless campaign of scorched-earth tactics. As Richard marched his exhausted army inland toward Jerusalem, the environment turned hostile. Saladin ordered his men to burn every single field and poison the vital water supplies. Records describe how the retreating army destroyed entire fortresses along the path. The Crusaders found nothing but ashes, fallen beasts, and ruined wells filled with heavy stones. Hunger and terrible thirst began to tear the Western army apart from the inside out. The heavy armor that once protected them now became a deadly trap under the blazing sun. Richard watched his brave men collapse into the burning sand, defeated by an invisible enemy. Saladin's shadow forces harassed the supply lines, ensuring that no fresh food could arrive. The brilliant Sultan had turned the unforgiving desert itself into his most powerful weapon. It was a masterclass in psychological warfare, breaking the invaders without a major fight. The psychological toll on the Crusaders was immense, leading to bitter internal divisions. Richard realized that even if he somehow conquered the Holy City, he could never hold it. His forces were too severely depleted, and the supply lines were hopelessly overextended. In a painful display of strategic realism, the great Lionheart ordered a full retreat. The decision to turn back from Jerusalem haunted the king, but it saved his dying army. This second round firmly belonged to Saladin, whose defensive brilliance had saved his empire. The balance of power shifted once again, leaving both massive armies battered and deeply tired. They were deadlocked in a brutal struggle, neither side possessing the strength to end the epic war. Skirmishes continued along the broken coast, with cities changing hands in endless confusion. Richard attempted to rebuild the ruined coastal fortresses to secure a strong foothold. Meanwhile, Saladin constantly watched for any sign of weakness in the Crusader defenses. The war had become a grueling marathon of endurance, draining the wealth of both continents. Soldiers on both sides began to develop a strange mutual respect for their resilient foes. Despite the religious hatred, the common men recognized the shared suffering of the campaign. The two legendary commanders engaged in a complex dance of diplomatic negotiations.
May this day bring peace to our kingdoms.
They sent envoys and exchanged extravagant gifts, probing each other's political intentions. Many modern historians believe this prolonged stalemate forced them to respect each other. Yet the fundamental dispute over the sacred lands remained unresolved and bitter. The looming threat of a final, catastrophic battle hung heavily over the divided kingdom. Richard's health began to fail, struck down by severe fevers and the relentless coastal heat. His spirit remained unbroken, driven by a fierce desire to achieve a final victory. Saladin too faced increasing pressure from his own emirs to completely destroy the invaders. The Sultan knew that a wounded lion was often the most dangerous beast in the entire wild. He gathered his remaining strength and plotted a sudden, overwhelming strike against the coast. The fragile silence of the summer was about to be shattered by the ultimate confrontation. The stage was perfectly set for the most dramatic and shocking chapter of the entire crusade. In the burning summer of 1192, Saladin launched a surprise attack on Jaffa. The Muslim forces quickly overwhelmed the garrison, pushing them all to the edge of the sea. Hearing the disastrous news, King Richard immediately sailed his ships toward the besieged city. He arrived to find the Ayyubid banners flying high above the crumbling stone walls of Jaffa. With only a handful of knights and very little armor, the English king made a reckless choice. He jumped directly into the crashing waves, wading through the dark water to reach the shore. Swinging his massive battle axe, Richard roared like a fierce god of war descending on earth. His pure, unbridled fury completely shocked the Muslim soldiers who were holding the Golden Beach. Without fully fastened chainmail, the Lionheart fought desperately to save his remaining men. The sheer physical power of this one man miraculously turned the entire tide of the battle. Observing the chaotic scene from a distance, Sultan Saladin was struck with profound respect. He saw the English king fighting on foot after his warhorse was killed in the brutal crossfire. Seeing a warrior of unmatched bravery, Saladin ordered his archers to stop firing. Showing incredible honor, he sent an envoy with 2 magnificent Arabian horses. Saladin declared that a king of such magnificent courage should never have to fight on foot. Richard graciously accepted the gift, mounting the steed to continue the ferocious battle. The combat raged on until the golden sun finally dipped below the beautiful horizon line. Despite holding the hard-won beachhead, Richard's forces were far too small to press their advantage. Saladin also realized that destroying the Western king would require an impossible sacrifice. The terrible conflict at Jaffa forced both proud leaders to confront a very harsh reality. Neither the mighty lion nor the desert eagle could achieve total dominance in this holy war. Exhausted by years of endless war, the 2 legendary generals finally agreed to parley. They opened diplomatic channels, seeking a resolution that would preserve their sacred honor. It was a fascinating time, where brutal warfare finally gave way to mutual admiration. Richard demanded access to the holy city, while Saladin insisted on keeping control. The negotiations were difficult, reflecting the deeply entrenched beliefs of both mighty empires. However, the underlying respect between the 2 monarchs paved the way for a lasting compromise. In the autumn of 1192, the historic Treaty of Jaffa was officially signed. The treaty stated that Jerusalem would remain completely under the control of Muslim forces. However, it explicitly guaranteed safe passage for all unarmed Christian pilgrims in the city. It was a remarkable conclusion to a war that had consumed the wealth of 2 massive continents. The Lionheart prepared his battered fleet for the long, dangerous journey back to his English home. He stood on the deck of his wooden ship,
watching the distant shores of the Holy Land slowly fade. His face carried the heavy scars of battle, but his heart had found a strange, unexpected peace.
Meanwhile, Saladin watched the western sails disappear from the golden horizon of the beautiful sea. The Sultan had successfully defended his empire against the greatest warriors of the known world. He remained an incredibly thoughtful leader, deeply reflecting on the immense cost of human life. Amazingly, Richard and Saladin never met face-to-face throughout the long, bitter conflict. They communicated solely through royal envoys, swords, and the lives lost on the burning sand. Yet they understood each other perfectly, connected by the shared language of supreme command. Saladin praised Richard as the bravest and most magnificent warrior he had ever encountered.
For it makes our eventual victory all the more glorious.
Richard, in return, declared that Saladin was the only ruler worthy of the Holy Empire.
For our reward is eternal.
Their legendary rivalry transcended the bitter religious hatred of the medieval age. They demonstrated that even in the darkest times, humanity could still show profound nobility. The story of the lion and the eagle became a timeless myth, passed down through generations. Modern scholars still study their brilliant tactical maneuvers and complex strategic decisions. They stand as ultimate symbols of honor, reminding us that great enemies can also be heroes. Their mutual respect for one another forever defined the true meaning of honor. In your opinion, was Richard's raw power or Saladin's brilliant mind the true key to win? Please leave a comment below, hit the like button, and subscribe to our channel for more epic history.